Welcome to the Jolamade blend. Oh, with JP and friends. Oh, where the fun never ends. Oh, get your fix with the Jolamade blend. Oh, where the fun never ends. Oh, with JP and friends. Wow, that was my I guess my new introduction. I decided to start doing. I think you're gonna sing that every little podcast I do here as intro, instead of having like a one pre-recorded, and playing each time. I think I'm just gonna sing through that little number. I literally improv that like a minute ago. I wrote the lyrics and then improv'd it simultaneously. That's how I do things. That's how I typically actually write and sing lyrics. Excuse me. Been drinking a little bit of Bacardi tonight here. I've got one little Scotch glass down. Pretty good shit, I must say. Well, this is as I said in the intro, this is the Jolamade blend with JP and friends. This is podcast number 3 here. Jesus, excuse me. I'm not really doing this like week by week or even bi-weekly like I was looking to do. I think I'm just gonna start doing this whenever I have enough shit to go over and actually make like a podcast out of, you know. That way I'm not just shooting the shit completely out of the air, and have some substance to each episode, each podcast, whatever these kids are calling it these days here. And I think I decided that I was originally going to do it like try and do each one 48 minutes, but I think that's just going to be the limit, like the max I'm going to go to for each one. I'm not going to have like a minimum of 48 minutes like maybe I was originally intending. I think that might be a little bit overboard. You know, I don't want to just be bullshitting the whole time and not have any substance or content just to make it, you know, a 40-minute podcast just for the hell of it. So I think what I'm going to do from here on out is I've had an obsession with the number 3 as we'll become more and more aware throughout my works with ADP and probably everything else that I get involved with. I'm gonna have 3 topics I'm gonna go over probably with each podcast session here. At least that's what I'm starting with tonight. I'm not holding any promises here, so let's get right into things here. I'll just go over the 3 topics that I'm looking to cover tonight's. Tonight is, I should point out, February 7th. It is a Friday night here. It's probably like 7:30. And tonight's 3 topics are going to be the 8 Trilogies novel that I just started writing, my ADP DPD joint adventure project that I've got going on, and we're going to be covering with my progress thus far with my newest EP, the 8 Trilogies EP number 3 here, which I'm very, very proud of what I've come up with so far. So I guess what I'm going to go over with the 8 Trilogies novel, which it's not going to be like a traditional, I don't even know what size, like paperbacks typically are. I know they're certainly not 8.5, 11. And they're probably not much bigger than like 5 1/4. I don't know. I have no idea really what size, like, I don't even know if there is a traditional. I'm looking at a composition notebook here. It says it's 9 1/4 by 7.5. There's no way in hell I'd be able to fill one of those for each page. So I think what I'm gonna do. I was tossing this idea around in my head. a little bit tonight here even yet. I think what I'm gonna do is just have like the novels and the illustrated novels I'm looking to do. Just keep those with the liner note format, which is like it would fit in the standard like jewel case for CD, that's like 4 3/4 by like 3.5 or something like that, something close to that. So like I already have like a logo design that I'm looking to do, like that would split the pages and just have everything else, run right along with that. There won't be necessarily a standard format for that. It'll almost be like you've seen like older classics, I guess, getting redone with different artwork that like kind of travel throughout the page itself, not necessarily being confined to a certain area being drawn in. I think that's the idea I'll have with the illustrated novels and with the novels themselves. Like I'll do whatever size font to make sure that looks good on with the liner notes there. So with the Eight Children's novel, I think yeah, I have an outline for 192 pages to do for that. I think I was intending to do that originally, even with doing the liner notes. Not sure as hell not with any like standard fiction type book, as far as like what you would typically hold in your hands and say this is a fiction, a fantasy novel or a fiction novel or something like that. Especially with the packaging details I have in mind to include with both, with everything with the future albums, the novels, and the illustrated novels. I've got some pretty cool ideas that would go hand in hand with keeping them the same size as with the liner notes there. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. But anyway, enough rambling about that. I'm gonna go over like each. I have like an outline here as far as what I'm looking to do with the Trilogies novel, which is that's gonna be the prequel, more or less. It is not more or less. It is gonna be the prequel to the Dissociated Sessions, which that's gonna follow directly right up. I shouldn't say directly, but it's gonna follow right after the events that take place within this novel here, and start JP's journey. Excuse me, with discovering Mr. White, Mr. Gray, Mr. Black, and ultimately himself there. So, all right, well, here we go. Chapter 1, Session 1. I should point out each summaries, each chapter for these are going to be, it's going to act like as it was a session with the psychiatrist. It's going to be, I guess this will be kind of like past tense. This particular story I have will be looking at, it won't be in present time. It'll be looking back through each session as though it had already happened. So yeah, evidently that would be past tense, I guess there. So the session 1 is going to be, and I should also point out, Jesus. I should also point out that not for this novel, but like for all future novels, for when I do like Mr. White, Mr. Gray, Mr. Black novels, they will all tie into directly within the music. Like each chapter title will be corresponding with the actual song title for each novel I come out with. But that was not the case with these because I already wrote EP 1, 2, and 3 before starting this idea to have a prequel to set everything up for the Dissociated Sessions. So anyway, back on track. Session 1, Chapter 1 will be called Lost, and the summary goes like this. I'm just going to read right off of what I've written here. This will be the origin story of JP and will tell a detailed account of the trip to Canada where it all began. I should also point out that this is going to be acting as kind of, I might have already fucking said this, I have no idea. In one of my first 2 podcasts there, that I believe I already did. Anyhow, it's gonna kind of act like my autobiography, my memoir, throughout this entire story. Like I'm gonna have different stories that actually happened to me that took place in my own life. That I don't think I'm not gonna try and like Hollywoodize it, so to speak, just to make it more attractive in that sense. I'm gonna try and keep everything on point as it happened in my in real life to me. I mean, I'm like, for God's sakes, the main character is named after my new nickname here, JP. So I'm expecting people to assume that a lot of this is going to be based about myself, my own life. But I'm also going to have, I don't want to have everything be about me. So I'm going to have, certainly, there's going to be some chapters, some, a lot of dialect, a lot of content that's going to be maybe similar to what I've experienced firsthand, but a lot of it's going to be different. At least changed a little bit to be able to call it, changed enough to be able to call it fiction versus nonfiction there. But anyhow, what I started on that little rant there was because this trip to Canada, that all actually took place. And I'd like to start from something that actually happened to me with a direct influence in this main story that's going to be very, very personal, story to me. I'm going to be basically like a method actor throughout the entire 24 years that I have planned out for this. I'm going to be like fully fucking in depth into this story, to where I might even be, I might even get to a point where I'm going to confuse fiction for reality. But I think that's just going to show a sign of being that involved in this project. So maybe that'll be a good thing versus a bad thing. And session number 2, chapter 2 for this novel will be called Journal. And the summary says, this discusses other things in life that are dragging him down at his current situation in life. I think, excuse me, Jesus Christ. I think what I had in mind there. Actually, I know what I had in mind there. I'm gonna be covering different relationships, different jobs I had at that current point in time when I started seeing a psychiatrist. Everything from work, basically anything revolving different relationships that I was involved in that time. Whether they were with different girlfriends, different guy friends, just guy friends I had coming out of college and stuff at the time, different co-worker situations, things like that. I know for a fact I really started to dislike the job I was at that time, so I'm interested to see how I take that route there. Session 3 is called Origin. Chapter 3 will be Origin. Man, Jesus. After more thought, JP realizes that maybe it's been the feeling of being so close to death that truly triggered his disorder. That again is going to be something tied pretty deeply to my roots there, as far as what triggered this actual depersonalization disorder that I have. That goes, I don't know how in depth I'm going to get in this right now, but I'm obviously going to be covering that in that particular chapter, along with all of these, of course. But most of that's going to revolve around Ocean City, Maryland, and it's almost like a dream-like state that I was in, that I can remember almost literally every detail from those few minutes, really, that all took place, that started, kind of made me realize that maybe that's where everything that I'm dealing with now started, rather than some of the events that took place on that family vacation, that took place in chapter 1 here. Chapter 4, Forgiveness. Summary goes, JP is asked to write a letter to himself forgiving his past self for everything he blamed himself for. Yes, this shows many signs of progress for his sessions. yeah, that's gonna be kind of a turning point. Excuse me, for how he starts to cope with everything with this depersonalization disorder, which I'm just gonna now abbreviate DPD because that's what it stands for. That's the medical abbreviation for that disorder, anyhow. So yeah, that's gonna get involved with the progress and some of the self-made cures that he found that worked for him to get over some of the to help him get over some of these humps in his daily life to get on to move forward with his life and then try and move on from this whole DPD mess. So, yes, chapter 5 now. JP discusses everything that he does to cope with the disorder and goes into details about his emergency room visits from his panic attacks. Okay. Maybe, yes. Maybe most of what I talked about, what would be chapter 4, is actually going to be chapter 5. I think that was just... Yeah, okay. Chapter 4, I think I intended to stick mostly in Canada and kind of rehash the events that took place there and show how I really felt during everything that was happening. Chapter 5, it'll be showing the different things that he does to get over that current state, being in that current state of depersonalization. Yes. And from the numerous emergency room visits that actually did happen to me. I went three times living in Williamsport there. Sucked. Really did. Obviously. Anytime fucking going to the emergency room. Alright, chapter 6 is visions. These are all very personal, but this was like another really hard-hitting different events that took place that I'll certainly write about in detail. It's called Visions. There has been some very hallucinogenic dreams, visions, experiences during his most tried and desperate times under the state of sleep deprivation. That was a very, very real thing to me. It seemed like most nights, I was staring at my alarm clock, it'd be like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd have to get up at 6 for work. I still didn't sleep a wink. So that was some very tough times. I'd fucking go to the sheet. I remember driving the sheets multiple times every morning, and just getting three different. I can't even. Three different frozen mochas. Just drinking 2 of them on the way to work, and just bringing one into me, and bringing one into work with me. And even that wasn't enough to keep me fully awake during the day. I'd find myself half fucking asleep at my desk most afternoons, even with that. And that must have went on for probably at least 2 or 3 months, just going on like that. At night there would be I'd feel like I would be shutting my eyes. I'd feel like there would be the ink block test, the Rorschach test that you see. I'd feel like that was being put on me. Literally every night, while I was going through all the sleep deprivation. I would be, my eyes would be completely shut, and I'd be seeing flashes of light with different monsters and shit coming at me. It was very, very scary, surreal stuff. I still don't know how to explain it, but probably the best I could explain it would be you were actually awake for your nightmare. That's kind of what I was experiencing with all of this. So remind you, I went for a period of probably, 2 to 3 months, averaging maybe an hour of sleep every single night for this period. Some nights on the weekends, I remember I'd be staying up literally all night. And chapter 7, awareness. The summary goes: the main discussion here is how most of the emotional Wow, I can't read this shit. I can't read my own writing. Yes, okay. How most of the emotional pain comes from not being able to tell his friends and family of the disorder for fear they'd think he was crazy. That's obviously another very surreal thing to me. So that's gonna be a pretty heartfelt chapter, just kind of talking about different times that I disclosed that information to my family, and maybe they didn't believe me at the time, and how they were almost more scared than I was, I think, at different times. And chapter 8, going into the name of the full length novels and the whole project beyond this. I couldn't name anything else other than Dissociate, and you'll see a pattern if you haven't already with the names of the chapters and the names of the songs I have. All right, the summary is JP and a psychiatrist have one last session discussing what he plans to do in life before he leaves. She gives him a journal which she wrote about with 3 other stories involving 3 different DPD cases that she discussed with different patients. So that's gonna really transcend into. That's going to open up more or less the full story of the dissociated sessions. That's going to be kind of the starting point. Like I said, I don't want to give too much. I don't want to give anything away ever. So I'm being really careful what to say here. But that's going to be the starting point, more or less, where the dissociated sessions will start from, and where all my music will start from at that point as well. So I'm very, very excited to get to that state. And okay, I covered that pretty well. The ADP DPD joint adventure I have, that's gonna be going hand in hand, obviously, with my music. What I have planned to do there is, after the EP3 and both the H.O.'s novel, I plan to release by June 9th. They'll both be available to the world online. And what I plan to do, once I have them available to the world online, I intend to start marketing the shit out of everything that I've come up with to this point, creatively, musically, mostly musically. And, of course, with this novel idea I have. It's a novel idea, yes. I hope so. But what I hope to start getting some exposure from doing that, what I plan to do, combined with the DPD, with the ADP, is to start advertising my website, yourcityofront.com, which is the entertainment website I own and operate. Basically my spiel is gonna be kind of along the lines like, hey, I hold this, I have 24 songs now, 16 of which, maybe more accessible than the other 8 that I have from the first EP. I won't say that, but it'll be something along the lines of saying, hey, I've got 16, I've got some music to play out, rock your socks off. But for whatever reason, no, I'm not even gonna say that. Scratch that. I'm gonna say I got 16 songs to knock your socks off. I'm gonna bring in clients, gonna bring customers for you. I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing this for me. But fuck that. They're gonna enjoy what I'm doing anyway. You're also gonna enjoy what else I have to offer you, and what the else I have to offer you is, I got this great deal. It's gonna be for free. It's gonna be for free for 8 months. And we're going to offer you for 8 months. That's going to be similar to like a wanted ad. Like a wanted ad for your business, for your venue, for your club, for your bar, what have you. I'm going to offer. There's going to be pictures, the address. I'm going to write my own review. After being there, getting served, seeing how everything is firsthand. I'm going to have all that on your page. For free, for 8 months. What I plan to do is travel to 24 different cities, having three stops for each like town, city throughout like the Pennsylvania tri-state area here. And I'm hoping to get some exposure like I said, both for musically to start playing out different live gigs. My goal at the end of that, I'm giving myself 6 months to do that. I think that's pretty reasonable to cover 72 different venues in 24 different cities. 6 months to do that. I think that's pretty reasonable. Anyhow, by the end of that, I plan to be. My goal is to be playing out at least one day a week with a paid gig. Whatever area that might be. And also with that is start developing a contact list with the YourCityFront.com website with the entertainment kind of business that I'm hoping to bring in as well. So there's going to be different package deals like I'm going to be offering to these, depending on what type of venue, what type of entertainment that they're looking to offer. Basically, it's going to be a giant combination. Oh fuck! I just broke my pen. Just broke the cat to my pen. Anyhow, playing with it here. I'm gonna combine that with my I'm gonna combine my YourCityFront.com website with SchoolboyTalent.com, which is gonna combine venues with the talents themselves. So eventually, I will be the middleman for everything. That's kind of my goal here. That's my goal anyhow. Until they fucking kick out the middleman and they don't need me anymore, which in that case I'll find out something else to make money off of. That won't ever happen because of everything else I'm gonna offer though. Don't worry. So that's I don't want to say that's my main goal is to make money, but that's certainly. This is my career. Like this is gonna be my career within. I'm giving myself like 5 years now to accomplish everything. My goal was by the time I'm 30, I'm gonna own a house. I'm gonna have a wife, and at least one baby boy on the way, maybe a baby girl, depending. I'd be proud of either. I really would. So yeah, this is ultimately gonna be my retirement plan. Of course, in case this doesn't happen when I'm 30, which is only that's only like 4 years from now. Ooh. Yes. I think I covered pretty in-depthly what I'm looking to do with the ADP DPD joint adventure there. It's going to be a hell of an experience either way. Hopefully I'm going to be meeting different people. I've got 72 different managers, owners, whoever get the opportunity to speak to there at, in 24 different towns, cities throughout my area. I'm bound to meet some pretty cool people by just doing that. They're going to be giving the booth, what I plan to do is give away the EP number 2 and number 3 to each particular, each venue that I make it to. So that way they can get a good taste as far as where I'm coming from musically, if they want to showcase my music or not there. Hopefully yes. And the 8 Trilogies EP number 3 so far I'm extremely proud of what I've come up with. I'm very proud of everything I've come up with this far. Oh, okay. Get back to the message later. Anyhow. A girl just contacted me out of the blue and I didn't expect that. I haven't talked to her in a while. That's good. Yeah, so far so good. This is I'm on number 6, track number 6 with Shooter. So this is gonna be probably the best song I've written musically, lyrically. I've only been getting better since. Every time you do something, you're obviously gonna be getting better at. But these last 3 songs that I felt they were the best written on this particular EP and among any of the among anything I've written thus far. you know, they're personal to me, but also I think a lot of people will be able to relate to them, which ultimately I think is anyone's goal as an artist. You know, being able to be as personal as they can be, you know, as personable and in depth as they can be. You know, expressing themselves within their music or their art, whatever it may be, but also maintaining that you know, that accessibility to where other people will be able to relate to what they're actually doing. You know, if you're writing about something that, you know, only a handful of people can relate to, like that's awesome. That's great that you might have that target audience to be that, you know, that little fan base like that, but you know, I'm not sure. Certainly don't expect a career out of that, doing that. I wouldn't say, anyhow. I mean, that's not why I'm doing this in the first place, even though I've said that a few times now. But, you know, what good is... how can you be an artist if you're no longer relating to anyone? You know, if you're only... to me, it comes off extremely selfish if the only person you can eventually relate to would be yourself. What does that even mean? Are you even an artist? Are you even a musician? You know, at that point, if you ever get to that stage, I don't know. That's not something that I'm ever gonna aim for. You know, to where people start saying, "Hey, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about anymore." It doesn't. I can't relate to anything you're saying anymore. Like, for fuck's sakes, there's 6 billion people on this earth right now. Even if you're, you know, you're poor to a handful, that's still gonna be a shitload of people that you can relate to. You know. So, I will never say to be so selfish as to only be able to relate to people, to yourself. You know, to limit your target audience to just to only giving a shit about yourself. I mean, I guess everything that I do and write so far has been primarily been like a therapy for myself. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm not writing about something that nobody else that I've ever met in my life, that I will ever meet in my life, that has not experienced something that I'm going through when I'm writing these particular lyrics or these songs, what have you there. But that said, what I did on the first EP, everything was very, for me, like rhythm guitar based. There was a lot of, even though it was like written standard E, it was very, very heavy on the rhythm guitar. You know, I only literally had guitar and drums on that EP. So that should be the first complete difference there. With this one, it's everything gonna be on my my Dean acoustic electric. It's gonna be, I'm having my primary guitar and vocals, my rhythm guitar, which is gonna be primarily on my left channel, and the second rhythm guitar on the right channel there. And excuse me. I'm eventually gonna come back and do sonic guitar, which I plan on doing on the center channel, which is gonna be kind of like the atmospheric, ambient guitar that I did on the EP2 that I was really, really happy with how that came out. I think maybe something I'm aiming for, like maybe subconsciously, but that turned out that way on EP2, that I'll probably aim for on this one as well, is the fact that numerous friends and family that listened to it said that they couldn't make out some of the lyrics, even though they said that it sounded good. I don't know if they were just saying that or not, hopefully not. But they said that it sounded good, they just couldn't make out all the lyrics that they needed. Even when they were paying close attention, they still couldn't make out some of the lyrics. I think maybe that's going to be something I'm going to be aiming for throughout my career, is almost like interpretive, you know, up to the listener's interpretation as far as what I'm even saying on certain things. I mean, obviously I'm gonna have lyrics available, but I think it goes without saying, if somebody wants to make out the lyrics to mean something to them personally, like, go all the power to them. Like, why should why should the meaning behind my lyrics take away from what they intend their lyric, maybe what they read into the lyrics as being in the first place. I don't want to take away from anything like that. So I wouldn't feel right doing that. So, I kind of want to leave that up to the interpretation of the listener to do the same thing with even hearing the lyrics. If they if they hear something else that they might not, I don't know. I think I'm going to play around with that in the future as far as really almost like alternate meanings behind each song, as far as like what the literal sounds can be interpreted as. But yes, back on, not on point, but back to the kind of the subject there. Musically, I feel like I've come 180 degrees from EP number 1. Even it's not even been a year yet. I mean, for God's sakes, I fucking wrote EP number 1. I think, it has been a year. I'm sorry, just about a year. I think I started writing that because I remember some of that. I got my I got a pretty severe ticket in March, and I wrote, that was like the second track I started writing. That one was when I got that like fucking severe speeding ticket in the construction zone. So yeah, it has almost been a year, but I feel like I've come 180 degrees from that, just from my my songwriting, the songwritings themselves, the song structure, everything about the songs, the lyrics, everything about them, literally everything about them. Like what it starts saying is everything on like EP number 1 was more like rhythm guitar based. So for me to get away from that on EP number 2, I really strived for getting showcasing, so to speak, my lead playing guitar skills. So everything on EP number 2 was really, really focused on, primarily anyhow, on some of the like different the lead riffs that I was coming up with, particularly in the intros where I'm actually singing. I think that's most noticeable between EP number 2 and number 3. Most everything I've written so far for EP number 3 has been very, very rhythmic based, and basic like power chord structure kind of deal, with like the opening, the intros, and with singing over top of that. So I think that's probably the main difference between from EP number 1 to EP number 3 right now is just the song structures themselves, the lyrics. Honestly, for EP number 1, I believe I mentioned this before. Maybe I didn't. I don't think I did. But that was written. I wrote all the lyrics just as have I done for each of these EPs so far. But I wrote that as though it was going to be one complete song. Like, if you read the lyrics for EP number 1, like it reads like the end of each song. It really doesn't fucking make any sense if you just end it like at each song. It continues right into the next song. I wrote that musically as well. Like, I remember most of them, like, if you would play it, because I wrote it, like, yeah, even on Bandcamp, I believe I have it available as one complete 24-minute track. Like, everything just, for me, I was impressed with how I was able to flow everything from from 0.00 to 24.00 minutes, right on the clock there. How everything I felt flowed really, really nicely together there. Where certainly with EP2, that was not that wasn't anything conscious on my mind. With EP3, it has been a little bit for the intros and stuff. Particularly like from I guess it would be from the first 3 tracks. Let me explain what Yes, that's really what I wanted to talk about. On EP number 1, literally only maybe like the first 10-second, 20-second riff that was all created beforehand. Everything else was all improv, was all completely improv from that main first riff. With EP number 2, I made sure I had, like, with the guitar and vocals, like, I made sure I had that down. Everything after that, I was improv, based off of, like, maybe riffs that I was writing off that, during that week. Also for the recording, for EP number 1, I think I'm doing the same thing for EP 3. Yes. No, I'm not even. EP number 1, I recorded every single night. Because I took fucking forever to actually change my mind to record that. So I recorded, like, yes, that's what it was. I recorded, like, 8 days in a row for guitar. And I would record, like, 8 days in a row for bass. Or for drums. And then I didn't do fucking bass. So that must be what I did. I must have done, because it was 8 days for guitar, 8 days for drums. I think I tried bass for 8 days, and I just wasn't happy with doing bass. Because I was originally going to do that completely instrumental. That's what I was. I was going to do completely instrumental. And then, like, literally the day before, like, doing the mixing and mastering, I ended up doing a few shots, maybe. No, it was probably Yingling. A couple beers maybe at that point, and I was like, you know what, fuck this. I am gonna include vocals on this. And what I remember holding my tablet and just hitting play from whatever the pre-mixed track I had for guitar and drums. They were both combined, and like mixed and mastered to the best of my ability at that point. I hit play on that from the very beginning, and just recorded over top of that one continuous shot, and that's what the vocals I ended up with. I would be concentrating on, like, as long as it was within 3 minutes for each of the songs, like, I was happy. Like, I think there was a few times where I was like, oh shit, what song am I on? Like, it did take me a few takes, because I started fucking reading the wrong lyrics, because I would forget what song I was on. But for me, like, ever since the first EP, I've recorded everything on one continuous take. That's I think also gonna be a signature for me, is to do everything live. Everything, if you can't perform it live, then fuck you. Like, there's no point. For me, there's no point. If you can't perform what your own, how talented are you if you can't even perform what you're representing yourself live? I don't know. To me, that's very, very false advertising. If you're advertising something that you cannot actually reproduce live, that's no way to do it. So for me, I'm all about live. I'm all about with the as a Dillinger Escape Plan does famously with their interpretation of Bill O'Reilly. The whole "fuck it, we're doing it live, fuck it, we're doing it live" type deal. I've seen it in several interviews now. Anyhow, I think trying to think if I've covered. I believe I covered pretty much everything on that. So only like 4 minutes left. I'm trying not to leave a super gap. I mean, if I can fill 4 minutes, then why the fuck not, right? Yeah, so I'm really, really proud of what I've come up with so far with EP number 3. For me, this is what I'm gonna be like pushing forward, like EP number 2 and EP number 3. Like, I'm really gonna be pushing forward the different record labels, saying, like, kind of like with the Matt TV, I think Stewie maybe, like, look what I can do, type deal. Because yes, I'm very proud of look what I can do. I'm very proud of what I've accomplished creatively, musically, though, if I do say so myself. And um, yeah. Uh, yeah, like, hopefully that starts getting me some, cause shit, I was just on Reverb Nation the other day. I've got like 200 plus fans on there. I've no idea how I got that many fans on Reverb Nation. I've yet to play a single, even open mic night with this creative project that I have here. I've probably played maybe a dozen and a half, maybe 2 dozen shows altogether with my like official only band that I've ever played out with, Faded Scars, from when I lived in Williamsport with some good friends. But shit, that's been like 3 years. I've got the itch, so they say. I've definitely got the itch to start playing out again. So like that's my main intention with everything I'm doing here, is to start playing out, having a good time. You know, maybe connecting with some people that might have some of the same, you know, not even the same opinions, but people that like might challenge maybe like what I'm saying. Cause excuse me, Jesus Christ. Woo. Yes. Excuse me. Because not everything that I say, you know, lyrically or musically, whatever, I don't necessarily want everyone to agree with right off the bat. I want people to be able to challenge themselves and you know, maybe question like what it is in fact that I'm really writing about. You know, whether that be my music, my novels, or my illustrated novels. Yeah, I think that's ultimately my main goal, is to get people to get off their feet. I mean, you know, for a while there, I was listening to you know, a lot of bands that were like, their lyrics were very straightforward. I mean, that's great from time to time, depending on what you're doing. You know, if I'm working out, like something like that, I don't really give a shit like how personal, how in depth the lyrics are, as long as it's like heavy good music. But other than that, like, I'm trying to strive for something that I can tell that the artist or the musician put some time and effort into it. You know, I feel like they deserve my attention, even as long as I give them respect. I might not have to enjoy what they've, Jesus. I might not enjoy what they've produced, but as long as I respect it, that's the main point. Jolamade blend number 3, bitches.